6:36 on Nationals Morning News on Super Talk 89.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Dan Mandis here, along with KGB, Jeff Malinoff, producing Joan Jones in the dusting-crusted newsroom. And EJ Houst is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. EJ, always great to have you on.
Good morning.
Inquiring minds want to know. I've been asked to ask you a very specific question, which I typically don't do. I don't typically take requests per se, but somebody has told me that I need to ask you about Beyonce's dress at the Grammys last night. We're starting with the hard-hitting news first, EJ.
Hard-hitting news first. I got a little traction on an X post last night because I said that her dress looked like it hurt worse than a mammogram. It was very, very tight in the upper region, so much so that it was disturbing. It looked painful.
I don't know why they dress the way that they do. I mean, I trust me when I say I'm beyond caring about Hollywood and the Hollywood elite and them as they celebrate each other. It's like, whatever. I didn't even know the Grammys were last night until I saw your post, to be perfectly candid. So
listen, I didn't know it until I saw Kanye's wife naked in my timeline over and over and over again.
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. She had a dress on that was completely see-through. She had nothing on underneath of it.
I don't know why she wasn't arrested for indecent exposure. I know I'm not the first person to say that, but good grief.
You know what the weird thing is? That woman, she was an architect. And if I'm not mistaken, and she was, normal before she started dating Kanye. And then now she's turned into this just weird. I mean, I did see that naked thing that she was wearing or not wearing. And it actually did look rather bizarre.
You know what was interesting too is my whole timeline is full of just the most bizarre outfits. I mean, I think these award shows are always like that. I don't watch them, but you can't help but see on social media, everyone's post about them. I mean, pretty much every outfit that is flowing through the timelines right now is pretty racy. Yeah. I mean, just kind of trashy and not attractive. Leave something to the imagination.
Oh, no. Why would we do that? All right, let's talk about stuff that matters. Now, real quick, though, I don't know if you were listening to the previous segment, but angel moms, parents of, kids or adult children who have been killed by illegal aliens, they've now responded to Selena Gomez's crying, stupid video. I call it cry fishing. Some call it sad fishing, whatever. But that completely unbelievable video of Selena Gomez crying, "I'm sorry, these are my people," and all this other kind of nonsense. And I think that, people are bringing up a great point. These angel moms are bringing up a great point. Why has no one cried for our kids when it comes to the Hollywood elite and people like Selena Gomez?
Because that doesn't get as many clicks, Dan.
Exactly.
You said it yourself. She was fishing for engagement. I don't even know if that was legitimate or if she was just, drug or alcohol induced or what. But I think the best thing that we can do with these wahoos is ignore them and just kind of let them fade away into the dusty timelines of social media. Just let it go away. There's definitely more important, more exciting things to concern ourselves with because, quite honestly, Selena Gomez, she's a flash in the pan. She's very wealthy. Yes, she's an actress and, lots of people know who she is. But if we give her the attention, then that's exactly what she wanted in the first place. So I would prefer we just kind of move on from her and every other Hollywood wacko that wants nothing but attention from us.
Let's talk about Chuck Schumer and this audio bite.
Let's just take Super Bowl Sunday, okay? It's going to affect beer, okay? Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico. It's going to affect your guac, because what is guacamole made of? Avocados, both from Mexico.
So I wonder if the good people of Colorado have anything to say about most of our beer coming from Mexico. I mean, and
Milwaukee and every other great brewery we have in the United States. That's just absurd, isn't it?
Well, it is, and that's right up there with him trying to grill a cheeseburger. Remember that photo?
Right. with a flip a frozen cheeseburger. I said the only thing that would have made it even more funny is if Elizabeth Warren had a beer and was trying to drink it with him, right? Remember that horrible video of her in her kitchen?
Yep.
But it goes to show you it's all about the show. It's all about the props and the show and everything else. And the fact that we're laughing about it today and Democrats are embarrassed by it shows you that their messaging right now is not working. We don't care if the price of avocados from Mexico goes up a little bit, because guess what? California makes really terrific avocados, and I'd rather give the money to California, of all places, than Mexico. As far as beer goes, obviously that's made all over the U.S. Everything on the list from Mexico and Canada that people are crying about and posting all over social media about is producible here in the U.S. Even cars and car parts, that seems to be the big talking point of the day. They can be produced here. In fact, the CEO of Hyundai said that the best antidote to any kind of a trade problem is to just build your cars here in the U.S. Mm-hmm. And they've got a plant in Georgia, and they're not alone. We can get all the energy we want right here in America. We can get the avocados, we can get the beer, we can get it all. Don't worry about your maple syrup, everybody. We're gonna be fine.
The thing, and I did mention this earlier, but it does bear repeating, which is two things. EJ Houst joining us on the Newsmaker hotline. Number one is these are the same people that screamed that we would all be selling pencils on a street corner if Donald Trump was voted into office the first time. Clearly, that didn't happen. That's number one. And number two, why don't these same people scream about the $36 trillion in debt that we're in, or trying to service that debt? It's like...
Yeah, that would require them to have some intellectual authority, intelligence, honesty, integrity. They don't. Listen, one thing Trump knows a lot about is steel. And if you remember, during his first administration, he was pretty ticked off that the United States gets ripped off by other countries when it comes to steel production and importing steel. We import a pretty good amount of steel from Mexico. In fact, during the Biden administration, it surged 577%. So the U.S. steel industry is in trouble, and he's trying to bring that back to the United States. So it's not just about the fentanyl coming over from Mexico. It's not about maple syrup and beer from Canada. This is far more reaching. But the headlines, of course, won't include all of the really important data and information that's being sent to reporters and news media organizations all over the country. They are willfully ignoring the press releases and the incredible amount of information that is being sent to the press, to the media, all cited. And I know this because I get these emails every single day. So the headlines and the conversations you're seeing, that's all what Democrats and the radical lefties think will gain attention and somehow win them the argument. In reality, when manufacturing jobs come back, steel jobs come back, the U.S. starts producing its own energy again, this conversation is going to sound really, really silly.
Well, and you're absolutely correct, DJ. And the other thing is that part of what Trump does is he's a negotiator. So automatically, instinctively, and right away, you've got Canada and Mexico calling the president, wanting to have those conversations. So that's also part of the equation here. And you're right. There's a reason why Donald Trump is doing this. It's not because he's a dictator and all of these other things. And, the Daily Dan poll on YouTube, if you want to watch us on YouTube, you can take the poll. Vast majority of folks that are watching us, WTN listeners, they agree with these tariffs. If there's going to be a short-term pain for long-term gain, then that's a good thing. EJ, hold on one sec. Coming up, EJ, I want to ask you about this comment from Jake Tapper to Virginia's Tim Kaine, Senator.
Why is your party so staggeringly unpopular with the public?
I mean, one of the highlights of my weekend. Details with EJ coming up. Thank you, Christy. 646. So weather today, a nice high of 70 degrees under sunny skies. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. So you've got Tim Kaine, and he is on with Jake Tapper. And I think Tapper just hit him right between the eyes.
Why is your party so staggeringly unpopular with the public?
And he was talking about the Quinnipiac poll that came out. There's a couple of other polls as well that show that the Democrat Party is just, as Jake Tapper said, staggeringly unpopular. EJ,
Yeah,
I've got to ask you this question real quick. Did you see the MSNBC, their live broadcast as the Democrats were trying to choose the head of the DNC and these vice chairs and everything? It was like the woke Olympics.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly where I was going. They have no messaging. They're wildly unpopular because they're not listening to the people. They're not listening to the American people who are done with the nonsensical, right? We're done with everybody calls it woke, but really it's silliness. We're done with the era of silliness. We're ready now to be the adults in the room. We are ready to kind of take control and tell the children, all right, we've let you get out of hand. You had too much sugar. It's time to sit down now and relax.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to go ahead and take the pill. Like, you're going to have to just take this pill of loss, deal with it, and maybe come on board. You know, I keep saying, wouldn't it be nice if they just gave it a chance? We've been doing it their way for decades, like 100 years, man. It's not working, obviously. We're more divided than ever. You know, they're more angry. I wake up every day happy as a clam. I just love it. I can't wait to see what new thing is happening that I missed while I dared sleep for 6 hours, you know?
Yeah.
But they're angry. And when you're angry and you're in disarray and you just don't know how to lose, you come off as sounding like a lunatic.
And
that's what they got going right now.
You're right. And I want to play one more example real quick where, again, they're trying to figure out who the next chairperson will be. And you had this moment where one person decided that they would break out in song.
Why is your party?
And that's not it. It is this one here.
And we'll start with Dr. Quintessa Hathaway.
Good evening, everyone. It is my desire to be the next DNC chair, and I just want to give you all a little bit of something that's been on my heart here over the last couple of days.
Okay.
You fight on, you fight on, you fight on, you fight on.
And people are like, what?
Your government is doing you wrong. You fight on, oh, you fight on.
People are like, okay, golf clap. But, you know, EJ, that is a perfect example where adults don't do that.
Right. I mean, really, you're right. They're acting like children. The other thing was, David Hogg, the Parkland kid from Florida, who, just has capitalized on a horrible tragedy. Really shameful. And he just says the most wacky things. But, he's still a kid. He's not grown up from high school. And it dawned on me yesterday when I was watching that and a couple of other things over the weekend where they had to vote for something with diversity because they had already voted for a bunch of white guys or something. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all just silliness. It doesn't make any sense. Vote for meritocracy. That's what happened in November. A vote for the adults in the room. Mm-hmm. That's what happened in November.
Well,
You've got lots of children running the Democrat Party. Right
and
now.
Here's the funny thing. You have, and I've got all this audio that I'll maybe play in the 7 o'clock hour, but they have all these black folks up there and and particularly black women who are demanding that people vote for them. In the end, the party of diversity and equity and inclusion decided that a white male would lead the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and listen, you ignore Ken Martin. Remember, he's from Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I escaped from Minnesota Stan. I'm a political refugee from that state. And if you don't know what an organizer he is, in my opinion, I'm not making an accusation, but in my opinion, he looks a lot like a money launderer. Given the Democrat Party and Act Blue and how they make their money and how their candidates get it. Mm-hmm. But he's a good organizer. He does know how to win elections. And so we should be a little timid when it comes to him running the DNC because he will get their messaging under control and he'll do good things for them, bad things for us.
Yes, and that obviously is something of concern. Do you think as we wrap this up, I've got like 30 seconds left, EJ. So the big question is, are the Republicans prepared to defend the House of Representatives in 2026?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think they're riding a high, and we need to get into the campaign mode a little bit. And there are some people that need to go, and that could cause a rift within the party. Rhinos and such that aren't doing the things that we want them to do.
All right.
That's always difficult.
EJ, you said you had a bunch of spicy pictures on your X feed, and people are begging me. Okay, so where do we find EJ? She's got interesting content up there. Where can we find her?
I'm not posting them. I'm not posting the pictures.
Okay, fair enough.
Stance, but you can definitely find them. I am at EJ under the radar on X.
All right, EJ, thank you very much.